celebrate payment of salaries. If 19 states cannot pay salaries, the man who pays on 23rd should be celebrated. The Bible clearly states it. A laborer is what his wage. And if you deny the laborer his wage, you have not started the principles of the biblical injunction to do that. And because the state is in the hands of God, we do this. I'm coming to the issue of the federal project. We are, yes, expecting federal government to give us money, but that's not the basis. The real basis for which we intervene in federal government projects is because of the responsibility we owe the people to deliver services. A man going through Enugu does not care whether it's a federal road. He cares for the fact that he must safely pass. And so that's why you've seen the Obola to Benue boundary road. That's why you've seen the massive, nearly 1 billion naira spent doing the road between Oji River and Uguaba. That's the boundary of Enugu State. That's why you've seen the bypasses and the whole renovation work done in 9 Mile. That's why you've seen the OP to 9 Mile Road being done. These are federal government projects, not just on road. Remember, we had sewage problems in the Enugu prisons. The state government probably intercepted, and 9 soccerway pits were constructed in the prisons to allow for the sanitary situation of the prisons to be good, because we agree human beings are there. So the basis for our intervention in federal government projects is not the reward we are going to get in terms of our payback. We look forward to that payback to do more, but it's service delivery to the people.
So if you have that kind of huge wage bill, how are you meeting, how is the state meeting its responsibilities?
It's very simple.
What's the level of your IGR?
Our IGR is not even as high. Maybe in some months when we do very well, we do 1.something billion. But what is the key thing? The principle of governance, that is prudence and fear of God. Where you have a governor who doesn't even, his approval limit is 25 million. But he doesn't approve 5 million without coming to the executive council. So there is prudence, there's transparency, there's justice, there's fairness. And because you see this governor, I am sure he's one of the few governors in this country who has not bought a staff car since he became governor 2 years ago. And so he has not bought a staff car. He's using staff car used by his predecessor. You can verify those facts. We're not saying something that is not real. So because of this is disposition, prudence is the key principle in Enugu. And so the miracle of it is still working.
Okay, Mr. Ekwenwa, today is Children's Day. What is the position regarding basic education? We hear that things are changing in the southeast, in the eastern part of Nigeria, where mainly the male child would prefer to not have tertiary education, but go directly from maybe primary school into learning business. So what is the position now, and what is the state doing about that?
Yeah, great. Maybe before I start, I have to talk more on this, what you mentioned. As a matter of fact, we have really worked and spent so much on federal roads. If I tell you that we have worked on over 127 kilometer road of federal roads, you can't believe it. Presently, even before the accumulation, presently this present government has just completed over 27 kilometers of that road. Now over to this Children's Day. Today is Children's Day. I'll start by wishing them a happy celebration. As a matter of fact, we have done so much in education. The basic education, presently he mentioned it when he was talking. We are building about 5 classroom blocks of buildings in presently. You understand, of course, there has been a lot of reform in the education sector, as a matter of fact. Thank you so much.
What about the male child thing? Is it still the case?
This case of
the male children
being not going to school. Of course, the awareness is there. Of course, the campaign is on, because of course education is the key. Education is a leveler. The awareness is being created all over. So I think that is improving at the moment.
You wanted to say something about education?
Yes, I wanted to say something about education, because education is also one area where His Excellency has done massively well. Now let's start from primary education. Within his term, he has constructed and renovated over 300 primary school blocks in our primary schools. Now getting forward to the secondary school, for the first time in that state, in the history of the state, we have computerized all the secondary schools. This is to enable our people get very used to the use of computers, because you know UME is computer based now. Now come over to the area of tertiary education. The man has done miracles there. Let's start with the College of Education Technical. Before the present government, the College of Education Technical has existed for about 8 years without awarding any certificate due to accreditation problems. On his inception, he immediately took over that, and right now they are awarding certificates. As we are talking now, we are at the final stages of making the IMT, the Institute of Management and Technology, a degree awarding institution. Suffice it to say that the ESUT has been given all the resources it requires for accreditation. Our medical school is doing very well for accreditation. The ESUT, all the courses are on for accreditation. And more so, we have reverted to the law establishing ESUT. And the Executive Council, under the leadership of the present governor, has approved the start-off of the ESUT campus in Adada in Uzowa in local government to bring education nearer to the people. Funds have been made available for that process. So in terms of education, I think that the man has done very well. And it is just a starting point, because if you talk to him in ESCO, when he sits in council, he tells us, we're not there with education.
Mr. Ipenwa, we're out of time, but help me answer this. You talked about federal government roads, but the roads connecting the rural areas, are all the rural areas connected to Enugu? He mentioned the city center, and all of that.
Thank you so much. He equally mentioned the roads we just commissioned on precisely on the 23rd of this month. That was on Tuesday.
How much did it cost?
The total cost of this over 2.1 billion naira. Yeah, as a matter of fact, these roads were chosen. This is a choose your project initiative by His Excellency. You understand? So these roads, and they spread across.
Chosen by who?
Chosen by the stakeholders from the various local governments. We have 17 local governments in Enugu State. They came up with all these projects. So in other words, that has been properly addressed. We have a total length of 28-kilometer road in that initiative. It is called Phase 1. He has mentioned it will have 6 buildings, 1 hospital, 5 classroom blocks. Then we also have a water project, four of them, including rural electrification. So it cuts across all the local government. That is properly being addressed. Those roads were flagged off on the 15th of October last year, and they were commissioned precisely on 23rd of May, 2016.
Okay. What is the investment community like in Enugu as we wind up?
The investment community is beautiful, is wonderful. Remember, because security is the key thing to investment, His Excellency has collaborated effectively with security agencies. And you can see that this culminated in the launching of the Neighborhood Watch 2 days ago.
Would that cater to the herdsmen attacks in various communities?
Yes, because what we want is peace and stability. We're not ready for war, but we are ready to protect our people. There is no need for any war. There's a need for peace. And that's why in the launching of that Neighborhood Watch, 36 vehicles were given to the various local governments and 4 motorcycles. And this was done in the presence of the representative of the GOC and the police commissioner. So this has moved forward. The Empower project is also working well in Enugu. Remember, the Enugu Free Trade Zone was launched under his leadership. And our investment initiative, the drive, has brought in so many people. That's why Air Peace, one of the leading airlines in Nigeria, is building an air hub and hangar in Enugu now. And the process is on.
That's where we shall leave it for today. I guess that in a country where some governors don't do anything, Governor Ugwuanyi should be lauded and he should be celebrated. More grease to your elbows, and more grease to your elbows, because you are his commissioners, so you're helping him in this work that he's doing. We were speaking to 2 commissioners from Enugu State, the Commissioner for Enugu State Capital Territory Development Authority, Mr. Chidi Aro, as well as the one for Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Patrick Ipenwa.
So we're not a final word from us.
Thank you very much for coming to talk to us about your state this morning. Sunrise will return in just a moment with another very interesting conversation.